Hey everyone, Sparrow here. Thank you for joining me today on what is the final tour of the first zoo I have ever completed. That's right, True North Sanctuary is finished and I am so happy to be able to share it with you all. We'll be taking a special tour of not only the areas open to guests, but also peeking around some of the staff areas for a comprehensive look at everything that's been built here over the last 7 or so months. I'm lucky enough to have an awesome brother who let me borrow his computer for the tour, so shout out to him. Fingers crossed the frame rate is slightly better, but if you notice a difference in audio, that would be the reason why. Remember that all of the workshop items used in this build can be found in the collection linked below. I also have a list of all of the animals and their names in the description just for fun. Remember to leave this video a like, and without further ado, let's get started. And just like that, we're back to where it all started. So we are on the pathway up from the parking lot into True North Sanctuary. On the way, we're going to see some silhouettes and statues of animals that we'll be seeing in the zoo, so keep your eyes peeled for those. We do also have some signage warning us to stay off of the rocks. So there's one, our little raccoon. We do have our wolf, our bison, a little penguin, a grizzly bear, and at the very top we have our reindeer or a caribou. Just a nice little intro into the zoo before you actually get in there. And then right here we have our beautiful entrance with the logo on it, True North Sanctuary, established 1965. The reason for the date is that is my dad's birth year, and he unfortunately passed away a few months ago. And I started building the zoo around that time, and for me, True North really has been a sanctuary because a lot of the things around here, my knowledge of interior design, building codes, even like video and sound editing, are all things that he introduced me to. So definitely has a part of him in it. There are many other little Easter eggs around here that I'll try to remember to show you or talk about as we walk around, but yeah, just a little bit of backstory there. So here we do have our admissions counter. Coming soon to the Steam Workshop, this whole zoo, so you'll be able to walk around it yourself. Here are some amazing people who supported me throughout the build of this zoo, so thank you very much. When you download those zoo from the workshop, make sure to check them out. Some of them are sponsoring specific animals, so it's a little bit fun to see who sponsored what. Over here we have the main entrance into the zoo proper, but before we head over there, we're actually going to take a little detour to go to the staff area, because we're not going to be back here like at all. So this is our only chance to go back there. Ticket booths in case you don't feel like talking to a person when you are heading into the zoo. But we're going to duck through here just to check out the staff area. So first we'll head over here. We have a little garage with a few zoo vehicles in it. The cabinets here were some of the first things I made, and my dad was a cabinet maker, so that was a fun little way to connect with that. The wheels on the wall here is a little bit of zoo lore that they're collected anytime a wheel falls off of something, and they're just placed up on the wall. We never had wheels in our garage growing up, but we did have a lot of license plates, so that's also a fun connection there. We have some storage over here. We're gonna duck through here real quick just to check out the staff parking lot, because there are some awesome workshop items over here, including this car that has exhaust actually coming out of it, which is really cool. All of the workshop items used in True North Sanctuary will be in a collection linked below, so make sure to check that out if there's anything that catches your eye. Awesome creators creating things for us so that we don't have to do it ourselves. Thank goodness. And this does just go over the entrance path that we came out of. We haven't been here in so long that there's grass growing out of the pavement. All right, so we have some cages, a little holding area over there. But we're just gonna head into here where we have all of our staff buildings, all of the things that are necessary to run a zoo. So quarantine, keeper hut, research centers. I don't remember what else you're supposed to have in Planet Zoo, but that's all back here. So it could technically function in franchise mode if you wanted to boot it up in that, but I don't know how well it would do that because I did not really pay attention to all of that fun stuff. So this is where animals would be held when they first arrive at the zoo. Not all animals, because I'm not sure all of them would fit. And then here's a little back entrance into the quarantine for the animals. Through here we get a sneak peek into the greenhouse, which I imagine is just a place that the keepers can go after a long day of work to unwind and do a little bit of gardening. A lot of these fruits, veggies, herbs, flowers would most likely be used in feeding the animals, help offset some of the costs of running a zoo, because that stuff gets real expensive. And then here we have a view of the waterfall from up top, but we'll get a better view of it from the bridge over there afterwards. Okay, back to the guest portion of the zoo. This main entrance here was built a long time ago. I think this portion of the zoo still stands up to my current building skills, although there are definitely things in here that I would do differently now, but that's part of the beauty of playing Planet Zoo. You can always go back and change things. We're not going to for this project. We're going to move on to new ones, but sometimes it's fun to go back. See, like we haven't been here in so long, it's just nature is taking over. So here we have the first habitat that was ever built, and it is the prairie dogs. Look at how adorable they are. Just digging holes, using their burrow. And speaking of, we can actually go check them out in their burrow using this Burrow Experience Education Center. So come see us in our burrow. Some prairie dog footprints custom made on the wall. Some education about the plants you might find in their habitat. Some underground tunnels, and then here, if it didn't make everything flicker, is where you would have the burrow cam, but I've been having some issues with that, so we're not going to turn it on even for the tour, unfortunately. Okay, we're gonna head over this way, I think. We have some delivery doors to the Bison barn right here, but we're just gonna breeze past all of this. We'll be back this way. So that we can see the viewing area. And we are gonna get a pretty good show, I think, because it looks like the bison are out. Just gonna duck under here. There they are, all three of them. This enclosure is named after different constellations. So we have Andromeda, Taurus, Cassiopeia, Lyra, Orion, and Scorpio. I like having little themes like that. I think it's fun. We do also have custom education signage and a whole bunch of other signage. So make sure you do download, once it's available, all of the assets. I will have a Google Drive link included so that you can experience True North Sanctuary with all of its custom education signage as it was meant to be experienced. So here we get a gorgeous view of this habitat, the way it slopes towards so that the animals can't get out. And the rustic barn in the background, I think, turned out pretty well. Definitely stood the test of time as well. So over here, we do get more views of the bison, but we also have the green roof of the moose and beaver backstage. So we have a little pipe peeking through so that you can learn more about the water filtration systems that the zoo uses. And over here we have the Lark Learning Center. So this is a little sort of like classroom at the zoo that school groups would be visiting so that they can learn more about different animals. We have some little play things over here, some enrichment items that the animals would use so children can learn about them as well. And then through here, we have this gorgeous classroom. Some specimens on show in the terrariums, a bucket of crayons, a smart board, just so that they can learn all about their animals here. I have done a zoo school before with a class. It was a lot of fun, so I had to include that.
Oh.
This wayfinding signage is some of my favorite that I've designed. Each section of the zoo has an animal behind it. So Woodland Walk is the fox, Prairie Pathway is the bison, and then we also have a bunch of other signs as well. So keep an eye out for those. First, we're gonna look at the map just so that we know where we're headed. So this is the completed map of True North Sanctuary. We have all 4 of our sections: the Prairie Pathway, which we just visited, the Woodland Walk, Mountain Hike, and Arctic Zone, as well as all of the animals you can find in there. So those are numbered and they relate to the map. And then all of the extra things like restrooms and admissions and education centers and food courts and whatnot. So we're gonna head over to the Woodland Walk. And we're actually gonna take a walk down here first, because this is kind of bad planning on my part, but oh well. So this is the red fox enclosure. I wonder if any of them will pop out. They do like the interior of their habitat a lot more than the exterior for whatever reason. And there are, I think, 6 of them in here, because the originals, Asriel and Marisa, had 4 kits. Kits is what baby foxes are called. And you can see some moose antlers up there too. That's pretty cool. So we do have another map. And in here, let's see. Foxes? Yes. And there they are. This backdrop I got really lucky with. It just like worked properly the first time. I didn't really have to play around with it. Yes, play in the box. Please do it. Maybe not. Oh, another one. I love the way they walk. Kind of reminds me of my cat. My cat walks like that. We have a taxidermy owl up here, just talking about how they help each other out in the wild. And then through here we have our backstage. So there are a few of them sleeping in here as well. All of the foxes are named after characters from His Dark Materials. If you haven't read that series, it's one of my favorites. Through here we have the moose and beaver backstage. So we can oh yeah, there's a moose in here. That is Alder, I believe. And then Aspen is our female. And oh, one of the beavers just ran away. That is the separation zone for the beaver. But the beavers are timber, juniper, and oak. And I believe the youngest one just matured. So there are 3 adult beavers in there. All right, so here, since we're walking back through the red foxes, is another education station. Did you know that red foxes are very vocal and have 20 different types of calls, and then you can listen to them through those headphones? So I thought that was a nice touch. We're gonna head back up. And here we have our exhibits. So we have the American bullfrog. Let's see if we can spot one. Normally they like sitting on these lily pads over here, but it doesn't look like there's one. Oh yeah, there's one floating right there. And over here we have Diamondback terrapin, and this one is ready for us. He's just sitting there, and there's one floating around in the corner. I've had a lot better ideas for exhibits, so I'm excited to start the next ones in the next zoo. As promised, here is that gorgeous view of the waterfalls. We're on the bridge. Building in the back. And down this way, we have some old greenhouses that have been repurposed for a raccoon and skunk habitat. So the raccoon habitat has been heavily renovated to provide them with some climbing and a little pool that they can play in. And over there, we have our skunks. Less renovated greenhouse, still a lot of flower beds in here. I just wanted it to be lush and the opposite of stinky, so lots of pretty foliage. And over here we again have more education, just talking about how these greenhouses have been repurposed because they're right next to the staff area, so this is where the old staff area would have been. But now we're gonna use it for the animals because we don't need them anymore. And we want to be good with our resources. So Woodland Walk continues that way, and we have some food, but over here we have our butterfly trail. So this is a new education sign that I made, just talking about the differences between monarchs and old world swallowtails, and then I particularly like the little color palettes underneath so that they're easy to identify. So we can see them fluttering about. Some monarchs and swallowtails. I think there's some swallowtails drinking up there. Drinking nectar. A very lush little part of the Woodland Walk. These butterflies likely wouldn't be here year round. This would just be a nice place for them to stop on their migration. And as we exit the butterfly trail, we get to a little food court. So we have some food trucks here and patio heaters, so you can still visit it in the winter. And from here, we actually have a gate, so this is how these vans would get in here in the first place. But if we keep walking past this, we can see the the raccoon and skunk backstage. So we do have a little maintenance vehicle over here with the TNS on the side. And then we're just gonna sneak through this door into the backstage area. So those are our skunks in there. They have little cages here. And our raccoons would be kept over here with some climbing structures. Out this way, we can head back to the big backstage area that we visited right at the beginning. But we're gonna keep going down the Woodland Walk. Just like that, we're back on the Woodland Walk. So down here, we have some vehicle access to the habitat. So for dropping off massive moose into this gorgeous interspecies habitat. So we do have our big male moose right there showing off for us. And then because there's a path underneath us, we can't actually get over here. So we're gonna have to hop, skip, and a jump over here so that we can see the rest of the zoo. So here we have the Beaver Lodge Edu Station. And through here we get a very good view of the habitat, the massive lake that the moose like to swim in more often than the beavers. Although right now it does look like we have beavers in there. And then behind us, we have, again, an education center, as Beaver Lodge Edu Station would probably imply. So we have a little beaver dam, some of the birds that would live in the same habitat, and then some information about tree rings and how to tell the age of a tree. Oh, our moose are actually interacting with each other. They hardly ever do that. All right, so we are close to the Arctic zone. We're not going to head down here just yet. I will show you just this little area. We do have a land bridge above us for the Arctic wolves, and this is one of the ways that you can get into the Arctic zone. So we have this glacial mural on either side, and over here we have a little viewing area for a cave that they will sometimes rest in. Not very often though. We have one more stop on our woodland walk, and that is the aviaries. So we're just going to be bad guests and we're going to climb over the rocks. And over here we have building piece birds, but birds nonetheless. So we have our common raven, and it's a big enclosure. The next one over is the blue jay. We have a lot of them in here. Very pretty birds. And over here we have northern cardinals. No females apparently though, because they're all red. And just like that, we with Woodland Walk. So our next stop is going to be the Boreal Cafe. We have a beautiful seating area out here with an amazing view of the bison and pronghorn habitat. And it does also have a gift shop. So let's check out the cafe first. And that's going to be on our left. Right through here. The Boreal Cafe. Have our menu. You can see our people hard at work. Drink special Labrador tea fog. We'll see Labrador tea plants later in the mountain hike and the Arctic zone. And then back here is just how guests would actually enter the restaurant. But the rest of this is totally my design, down to the stools. And spicing up the booths a little bit with little purse hangers, because we always need those. Then back through here we have the checkout for the gift shop, with some actual working souvenir shops, or not souvenir shops, because that's an actual thing in Planet Zoo now, with some gift stalls. And then this is just all workshop items, so these will all be in that link down below. The signage is mine, however. We have our beautiful tree above us. I could turn this into a souvenir shop because we have those now, but then I wouldn't have bison and wolf and penguin plushies. So we're just gonna keep it the way it is. We have some minerals and rocks on display. I'm pretty happy with it. Boreal gift shop, staying the way it is. So from here, we've visited the Prairie Pathway and all of Woodland Walk, and that big rectangle in the center there. So we're gonna head over to the mountain hike. And we're kind of gonna do this backwards. Not necessarily backwards from the way it was built, because it was built from the front back to the Boreal Cafe. But we're gonna start at the last habitat that was built for the mountain hike, which is the reindeer habitat. We have this gorgeous modern rustic barn with grass growing through it again. It is so beautiful. Especially when a reindeer actually stands in that window. And I believe we just had little ones born in here. Yes, they haven't even been named yet. They were born during this tour. Further down this way, we have the Dull Sheep habitat. So that is that mountain rising up above the sanctuary. Our doll sheep love to climb and run around. We do have 2 little ones in here as well. These guys are all named after mountains. And then we're gonna actually take a hike and head up the mountain to the viewpoint. So first things first, our viewpoint. We can see the entire sanctuary from here. Covered by trees, but we can see all of it from here. Through this way, we have kind of a mining shaft, was the idea behind this. We do also have an elevator, so this is accessible for those who wouldn't be able to climb up that massive slope. And then we just have some information about mining in the mountains. Alberta is very big on coal mining. And here we have a bald eagle aviary. So this was the second aviary I built, and then from there we've just added so many to True North because I really like building aviaries for whatever reason. Probably, I mean, Sparrow is my screen name, so I just like birds, is I guess what you could say. So from here we get a even better view of True North Sanctuary, less covered up by trees. You can see the polar center all the way from here. And if we're lucky, we might see some of the doll sheep climbing up here as well. Oh, right there. Perfect timing, guy. All right. Let's make quick work of this and head back down. Wow, magic. We were up there and now we're down here. So we're gonna take a walk down the salmon run and visit our cougar and grizzly bear. Edith, our cougar, is somewhere in here. She likes to hide a lot. Oh, there she is. It's very rare to see her. She'll usually be either sleeping in the backstage area or somewhere on one of the climbing structures. Behind us, we have a little rock garden sort of pathway. And this is actually one of the reasons why Edith is named Edith, because Edith Cavell Meadows Trail is a very beautiful hike in Jasper, Alberta, and it was one of my dad's favorite hikes. So that is the reason why this is here. Our wolves are so loud. We're headed over there, don't worry. Over here we have a little connector up to the Doll Sheep Trail with some bathrooms along the way. But we need to go visit Huckle first. So because this is a salmon run, there is an education area about the salmon and how they jump upriver, which is why they look like that. And here we have our grizzly bear, if he makes an appearance today. He might be sleeping in his cave. No grizzly bear for us today. We do also have some new education signs that I've placed here along with our grizzly bear statue. So they're just talking about the anatomy of the grizzly bear, how it helps it hunt fish, the terrain it might live in, and then the different types of fish it might catch. So I didn't actually write words because I didn't want to do the research, but it does have implied text on it. Oh, and there he is. Yes, hello, Huckle. He's one of my favorites in this zoo, if you couldn't tell. And then over here we have a fun bear height station, just so you can see how you measure up against a grizzly bear. Spoiler alert, probably not very well. Now we're back at the very beginning of the mountain hike. So this was the first habitat that was built. And there we have Onyx, our little wolf pup. She is growing up so fast. And of course her parents are asleep in the backstage area. But you know what? At least they're making good use of it. So over there is our wolf watchtower. We're gonna take a peek at the habitat from there. But along the way we have the first aviary that was built in True North, and that is the Great Gray Owl Aviary. Up this way, we're going to find an infographic that was made for the 1K subscriber special, so the wolf pack tactics. Just some information about how wolf packs are structured. And then here we have the meet the pack. So we have Onyx, our little one, and then we have Jet and Jasper, along with sort of a fake gem that shows what they are named after. So now that we're done the mountain hike, we're actually going to pop over to that backstage. Alright, so this is our second backstage area. It's not as big as the first big staff area. Here we have the walkway and the gate up to it. From that building right behind that is the Prairie Dog Burrow experience. So here we have a few staff buildings. We have a little holding area. And then we have a ramp for trucks to come down and deliver animals. Right there. My dad did truck deliveries for a long time as well. Oh, good. We love broken transformers. So down here we have a big storage area. And we also have our wolf backstage, so we'll head in there. Looks like we have a delivery. Right through here is our wolf backstage. Oh, hello, Onyx. What a cutie. So loud. Alright, let's sneak past this truck and we're gonna escape through this gate here so that we can see how the cougar and grizzly are delivered to their habitats. So we have this road for trucks to take, and down here goes underground into this tunnel. Max clearance 4 meters, not very big, but it is what it is. And we're just gonna quickly zip and just like that, we've arrived at the delivery doors, which takes us into the backstage. So we have our cougar sleeping in here, little separation zone, and then our grizzly bear backstage right there. Perfect. Another little kitchen over here. And then up this way, this is the staff access, and we are out of the building. So the upstairs portion of this building, we walked past earlier, and it's actually this little food court, which is the music we were hearing downstairs. So we have some food for our guests with our bison statues because it is right beside the bison enclosure. And then over here we have some more information about bison and how important they are to indigenous peoples of Alberta. So we have some information over there, a bathroom on the side, some seating areas, and then we have the Kiwetinok Gallery of Art and Culture. So Kiwetinok is the Cree word for north, and Kiwetin is the word for northern wind. Kiwetinok, like where the northern wind blows from mining. It does also have the double meaning of Kiwe means to go home, but in the sense of going home to the sky or the heavens. So I thought that was a nice double meaning for the name of this gallery. So through here, we have some. This is not actually Indigenous art. It's all free to use images. Most of them are public domain or Creative Commons. So I just tried to find images that were somewhat similar to what I've seen in museums before. So this was kind of reminiscent of Métis dot art, as is that image over there, but it uses a few more of the colors that are prominent in the medicine wheel. Over here we have some textiles, woven blankets. And then here we have some story ropes. Story ropes are really cool because they depict events, important events, with pictures. So sometimes you can understand the story that was being told. And then through here, we have a medicine wheel with descriptions of each quadrant and what it symbolizes, as well as some of the animals that might be used in totems. So I just have the animals that we have statues for, stone statues specifically. So we have bison and caribou, and then we have grizzly, wolf, otter, and raccoon. And then in here we just have a display of some plants that are used in traditional herbal medicines. So yeah, kind of made do with what I had in game, but I thought that was a nice addition to this section, seeing as bison are very important to the indigenous peoples of the land. And here we do have more infographics, again with the fake text, but real images. So a little bit different. All right, let's slowly make our way to the Arctic. So here we have our pond, which very recently got an update. And we now have free roaming swans in here. We finally have waterfowl in the game. We have little baby swans too. They weren't here last time I was here. That's crazy. So cute. Over there we have our polar adventure. We do also have some building piece birds in this pond because I didn't want to take them out. They're still pretty well done. And also we had to have Canadian geese, so they stayed in there. We're gonna take this trail up to the fox shack and the snowy owl aviary. Nice new sign here. We do also have baby Arctic foxes. They are all named after cozy things. So the parents are Melly for marshmallow and Bonhomme, which is snowman in French. And then the kits are Brandy and Coco and Nutmeg. And I forget the last one, but all cozy Christmas things. And here we have our snowy owls. So we're going to take the trail that goes to the whooping cranes next, and then we're going to circle around so that we can get to the cold dome. Hello. This little corral was added a little bit later after building the reindeer habitat. So I'm glad that they use it. So our whooping cranes here are also building piece animals, but I think they look really, really great. And this habitat turned out quite nicely. It's a very peaceful and serene walk once you get to the Arctic zone. Feels like the Arctic zone is a lot more commercialized and has a lot of big buildings, so this is a nice way to get back into that natural feeling once you're in this part of the zoo. Little backstage area. There's not very much in here. And then, as we continue down this path, we get our first view of the Cold Dome, which is probably my hardest and biggest build to date. But it turned out really, really well, and I'm very happy with it. So we're going to check out the penguin backstage first, because we are on this side of the building. Penguins are very loud, you can probably hear them already. They do have this indoor pool, and then they have more swimming space out there. So lots and lots of water. And there is a little chick as well. And then as we make our way around this way, where is all of this grass coming from? We will step through here, and we are inside of the Cold Dome. So we have our penguins over here. We get a good underwater view of them swimming around. That's the entrance into their indoor pool. And then behind us is more education stuff. So I did also make this sign just explaining that penguins and polar bears will never actually meet because they live on opposite poles, and the seal do live in the same area of the world. So that is the reason why penguins are in this zoo and not in a different one. Here we have a little viewing window into the polar bear backstage with the little snow cannon. And over here we have our gray seals, who are probably going to be headed in here soon because it looks like they've just been fed. So we do also have a viewing window into this backstage area for guests to see. And then as we head over here, we have this little land portion, which they do use sometimes, but they are obviously going to use the water a lot more. Oh, and there is one of them right now. Oh, both of them. All right, let's check out the outdoor portion of their habitat, which is just over this way. Oof. There we go. And as we walk down this ramp, we get lower and lower so that we can see underwater a little bit better. I do love this viewpoint. There's something new here. I added an Inukshuk to the polar bear side because it was looking a little bit empty, and the Inukshuk is very visible from pretty much everywhere in the Arctic zone, so it's a nice waypoint, which is what they're used for. Usually when you see an Inukshuk, that you know you're on the right path. So I thought that was a nice addition. Over here we have our polar adventure. So we're going to check out the underwater area for the polar bear. Oh, and we are lucky enough to actually see him swimming. Or standing in the water, but still. What a massive animal. I would not want to see one of these in the wild. That'd be very scary. We do have an education center here so that school groups can maybe come observe the polar bear. This would be a fun place to hang out, I think. And then we have our polar bear statue. I feel really tall in this building with some more information. So yeah, there we go. The polar adventure. Over here, we have another aviary and our Arctic wolves. So this beautiful viewing window. I can hear them, but I can't see them. There's one of them. And then that land bridge over there leads to their backstage area. Here we have our great horned owls, which are the provincial bird of Alberta. Right there. And as you can see, we are headed towards the polar center over this way. Along the way, we do have a bear cave, so sometimes the polar bear will be resting here. And then we can also see the Arctic wolf habitat quite well all the way along here. Oh, and what's this? The Polar Center is closed for a special event. Okay, well, we can still head in here. So here we get some beautiful views of the polar bear habitat. Looks like they just got some food out of the forage feeder. And we have an education talking point, plus some information about the polar bear just disappearing into the white background. Through this way, we have the polar bear backstage and another little staff area because the keeper huts were getting very, very far apart. Some transformers and water filtration for the polar bear habitat, and our wow, what a view. Nanook, you are treating us today. All right, one more stop. Two more stops, technically. So here we have another little education center with some Arctic ice on the floor, talking about climate change. Beautiful video. Some of the plants you might find in the tundra. And here we have an event space upstairs, so let's go check. Closed for a special event, and indeed it is a special event because the upstairs is set up for a wedding. With the Northern Lights, because it is sponsored by the Northern Lights Society. We have a little gift table. Thanks. A dance floor, of course, the most important part of any wedding. Projection screen. And a little bar off to the side. And then here we have a beautiful patio where our guests can hang out and get some amazing views of the polar bear habitat. It's been an incredible few months, not only building the zoo from the ground up, but also building this channel. Just a few months ago, I had only 1 subscriber, and now there are over 1,000 of you. Thank you so much for sticking around and sharing this journey with me. It truly means a lot. True North Sanctuary will be available on the Steam Workshop for you to explore yourselves in the coming days. Keep your eyes open for the announcement trailer, or better yet, hit the subscribe button and bell icon to be notified when that happens. Love you all. Thank you for being here, and see you next time. Bye.